There's God here, and it's time to talk some Isekai now that we're officially in the Oxford English Dictionary. I just wanted to have a video because I know everybody, or at least a lot of people, hate Isekai as a genre, which there's some truth to that. There's a lot of trash series there, even though I enjoy some of those also, but also wanted to share with you guys the ones that I consider the best and that you should check them out. They're not gonna be in any specific order, ranks, numbers, and anything along those lines. Just have them by categories. Use this video like a recommendation to check out some of the series that maybe you don't know about. Recommend them to friends. Maybe you wanna check them out, and also be mad at me because I didn't put your favorite series here. And of course, I'm also gonna have towards the end of the videos the ones that I consider the best overall, in general, my favorite 3 Isekai series. Now, the genre has a lot of really good ones. This is probably gonna be a longer video. Strap in, there's gonna be timestamps in the description below. You can jump to any category you want. I do hope you guys are gonna watch the entire video here, and of course, let's talk some Isekai. The first category is going to be probably the most common one for Isekai, being power fantasy, which we have a lot of them. I just have the ones that I consider the best here. Now, the first one is going to be one that is airing right now, which I think it has a lot of potential, being Remonster. It's looking pretty good. I like this sort of series, getting reincarnated into a world, becoming overpowered, getting skills, building things like that. I only seen episode 1 as of recording this here, but I looked a bit ahead. It's looking pretty good. I hope they do the anime justice, and I heard really good things about it, with Gobro becoming this overpowered goblin that we have here, and it has an interesting opening. Let's just say Simon. Yeah, that's the opening there, whatever come they have there, but hey, I hope it's going to be a good one here. The next one, it has perfect timing because season 2 is airing right now, Tsukimichi Moonlit Fantasy. It had one of the funniest starts for an Isekai series, at least for me. The main character, of course, gets sent to another world, but when he gets there, the goddess has some very choice words for him, to say the least. I'm not gonna say what happens, but it had me dying of laughter. And it hurt me personally. I would have probably got the same answer, but yeah. Tsukimichi, nation building, overpowered main character, getting skills, building his own domains, getting the hot girls, which I'm really curious, which one would you guys choose, Tomoe or Mio? But hey, why choose? Could be a harem, why not there? But yeah, Tsukimichi, really fun isekai. If you like overpowered main characters, check it out. The next series being The Eminence in Shadow, which is really fun series, mainly because it doesn't take itself too seriously, and it leans into what it's doing. It knows what it's doing, and Sid Kageno, The Eminence in Shadow, being such a great character for the world, especially how his mind works. He just wants to be the guy behind the guy behind the guy, the one that controls everything from the shadows, and of course, overpowered at the same time. And he has trained his entire life, but up to a point, and then he gets the chance into a world where magic is possible. But from here, things escalate, to say the least, and it's really fun. I'm trying to talk without spoilers here. It has some of the hottest girls, Delta. That's all I'm gonna to say about that. I'm really curious which one is your favorite girl there. The princesses are also really cool, and I have to give major props to the director of the anime here. He did such an amazing job, especially the fights here, the fight in season 1, and yes, there's a season 2, and we're also getting a movie. But overall, check out Eminence in Shadow, but please have some suspension of disbelief, because how the characters are and how they act, just know what you're getting yourself into. If you find some of the cliches cringe, I feel sorry for you. You're missing out on greatness with Eminence in Shadow. This next one cures the fear of insects, mainly spiders. Being so I'm a spider, so what? Or spider isekai, and major props mainly to the voice actress of the main character, Kumoko, being Aoi Yuki. That's one of the best roles ever. The voice acting propels this anime so much, but the world is very interesting what's happening there, how these students got sent to this isekai, died, they didn't die, what happened, they got sent to different locations, but our main character got sent to the monster side of this world, and this is why it's so interesting, because we see it from her perspective, being a monster and evolving and all of the shenanigans that happened there. Now, unfortunately for this one, I don't know if we're going to get a season 2, even more after what happened towards the end of the series. The production, the animation suffered quite greatly. It wasn't the best animation ever. It started out pretty good, but the last few episodes are bad, really bad with the CGI. But even then, I hope at some point we're going to get season 2, because it's so fun and I miss Kumoko so much. At least check it out. You're gonna love the dynamic between the characters here, and you get to see both sides, her point of view and also the human side. Here, quite interesting storytelling for an isekai. For this next one, we have one of the main characters getting isekai'd, thank you Truck-kun, but very differently. He gets transformed into a sword, or his new body being a magical sword, and from here he's looking for an owner, and of course he becomes overpowered here. Now, what makes this series so fun is the relationship between teacher, the sword, and our other main character, Fran, which she needs to be protected. If somebody does anything to Fran, I swear to God. But them being like a father-daughter moment there, they're so cute and wholesome together, and you can't help but root for them here, and I miss it. I actually miss it so much. It's so fun. It kind of slips under the radar for a lot of people, but I do hope you check out Reincarnated as a Sword, mainly for the dynamic between the characters, like I said. This next one is straight up overpowered main character. That's the main focus of it. Here being Arifureta, from commonplace to the strongest. But what I really liked about this series has to be the main character, because he's edgy main character, but also I like that quite a lot, because a lot of the characters, even here or in a lot of the series, just don't kill their enemies, and I'm tired of that sometimes. I just wanna, hey, go for it, kill the enemies that you have to do, and this one was the one that just straight went for it there. He became overpowered, he was betrayed, and he got his own revenge, and he's willing to go and do what takes to be done when he's facing his enemies there. But unfortunately, it does have some CGI, it doesn't look that good, and a masochistic dragon. I'm gonna leave it at that. Check out Arifureta. This next one, I dare you to say the name 3 times fast. The world's finest assassin gets reincarnated in another world as an aristocrat. Say it 3 times fast. It's really fun because we have a seasoned main character, Hitman, one of the best assassins in the world. He gets isekai'd here. But the interesting thing, of course, he's going to be overpowered or in the power fantasy category. What I found quite intriguing is the goddess and what's happening with this world. I'm not gonna say what, just that it got me very interested into it. There's something more beyond the face value information that we have right now with it. I really like this sort of thing when you have an experienced main character knowing what he's doing, especially when he's fighting, combining the skills to be overpowered here, and I'm very, very intrigued to say the least. And it's coming from the creator of a series that I bet not a lot of you have watched, Redo of Healer. Yeah, this is the redemption arc. But anyway, check out Assassin Aristocrat Isekai. This next one, we have Cautious Hero. The hero is overpowered but overly cautious. Started out very funny, leaning a bit more into the comedic side of it, mainly the faces of the goddess and him being overly cautious, like it's in the title, over preparing for everything, over killing everything. Like the smallest monster gets a nuclear bomb just to make sure it died, because you have to make sure. But that cautious side to him has a very good reason, and towards the last few episodes it actually got me into the feels emotional a bit, because I didn't expect what happened there. I was like, hey, I'm gonna watch an overpowered series, why not? But then the emotional damage came in, and I do hope a lot more people are going to check this one out. It's really fun, but also really surprisingly good at some aspects there. So check out Cautious Hero. For next category, we have game isekai or isekai anime that have gaming related things to them, or leaning more into the game world aspect of some things. And the first one being probably the most obvious one, No Game No Life, being there, and insert the meme where it's season 2, which is really fun, but at this point, yeah, season 2 is probably not going to happen. The main character being sent to this world to face God into a match of chess, and ending up having to save humanity. It's really fun. I really like the bright colors, the vibrant colors the aesthetic has to it, and I'm sure pretty much everybody knows of it right now. I really like the rules with having to deal any conflict being dealt with games instead of fighting, but at some point those are actually much more dangerous in a way than straight up violence, with how a lot of the other series or anime handle any conflict. So if you haven't watched No Game No Life up to this point, I hope you check it out. The next one is very similar to No Game No Life, but I consider it a bit better in some aspects at least. Problem Children Are Coming From Another World, aren't they? Or Mondaiji for its short name. This is one of the series that I want season 2 the most. Like, I have a lot of series I wish for a sequel, even some of them from here and non-isekai series, but this one, I was having so much fun with it. Unfortunately, it has only 10 episodes and an OVA, but the main character, being overpowered, gets sent to this world where everything is solved by games again. But here, violence is also possible, fighting, tournaments, and having to save the no names. I'm gonna try no spoilers. I could rant and talk and go on a tangent about Mondaiji. I read up some things ahead there. I'm really liking it, but I think the series was ahead of its time before the isekai bubble kind of exploded in a way. I'm sure a lot of people don't know about it, but if you like No Game No Life, check out Mondaiji. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Who knows? Maybe hell, some copium, and at some point we're going to get a season 2. I hope so. I'm sure you guys know this next one, right? Bone Daddy, Overlord being here, him being sent to this game world and being the main character and the villain of the world at the same time. It's really fun seeing the point of view of the villain, him trying to conquer the world, all of the shenanigans, Albedo being turned into a freak after him, let me put it that way. Shaltier can murder everybody around her, but it gets better and better the more you watch it. Now, it does have some issues. I think the biggest flaws of Overlord are when they focus way too much on lizard people, goblins, potion guy, but who doesn't like an overpowered character just taking over the world? And I do have to say, Season 4 is probably the best. Honestly, that one is really good. Especially the conversation, the dinner conversation with the prince there. I covered it even in videos if you guys want to check those out. This is probably one of the most well-known series in general, not just isekai slash game world series, being Sword Art Online. Kind of popularized the genre in a way, big time. But I also feel like it's being treated very unfairly. Like, sure, it has issues. The first part is probably one of the best parts into it. The second part kind of stumbles a bit. Season 2, I wasn't a fan of Gangale Online as much, even though we're getting more Gangale. It kind of goes up, down, up, down. But the last parts right now, it's kind of been going up and up more and more, especially with Alicization is really good. Alice, best girl, by the way, in the entire series. Don't come at me here. And then the World of the Underworld is also really good, especially that Berkuli fight. Ooh, it's so good. But I do hope more people stop hating on SEO. I'm not saying it's the best series ever, but I do think it became a meme at this point to just hate on it, say, oh, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad. But no, it's not that bad as many people have led you to believe. And I kind of feel like they're doing a really good job right now with the progressive movies, also showing Asuna's point of view in the first part there with Aincrad. They made them a bit more serious as opposed to seeing Kirito's point of view when we saw it with the first series. But I'm happy. Sword Art Online is still really good. I do hope we get some continuation, even more after War of the Underworld. There's some interesting cliffhangers. But you haven't watched anything recently with Sword Art Online, at least check out the Berkuli fight and get context into it, because the context is very important as to what Berkuli achieved there. I'm not gonna give any spoilers, but yeah. Now, this is a recent series, Shangri-La Frontier. If you haven't watched it, do yourself a favor and watch it. It's game-based. Like, there are a lot of game series like SAO, for example. We're gonna have a few more after this one, but this one is the one that leans more into the gaming aspect. Like, it's full on about the game. There's no survival, no magical, no actual threats outside. We even see the real world, daily lives, how they handle this. It's very cute. We have our main character being obsessed with trashy games, to say the least. I have a series for him, we're gonna get to it a bit later. But then he comes across this godlike game, Shangri-La Frontier, and having to defeat these 7 colossus, the raid bosses of the game. And shenanigans ensue from there. Arthur, really hot. But check out Shangri-La Frontier. This is how you do a gaming anime. It's so fun. The opening is great. That blacksmith song, I put it on repeat so much. The insert song in the series, the characters, Emul, the bunny, just super fun. Shangri-La Frontier. And hey, we're getting more. And the last episode, I just remember, killed me. That magical girl, the voice. If you know, you know. For this next one, you probably guys know it, being Log Horizon. It's very similar in a way to Sword Art Online, the survival aspect being stuck into a game world, but I think it does some things much better than Sword Art Online, where you have Kirito being this overwhelming, overpowered character. Here they focus more on survival in this game world, building a society around it, dealing with the cards they have been dealt, seeing what's happening there, what's up with those NPCs there, are they too real, everything else, trying to figure out how that world works, trying to get out, trying to unite with some people. But what makes it great is also Shiroi, the main character, how his mind works, being more of a his overpowered side comes from his mind, being very smart, a genius, and tactics, how he abuses the game mechanics. But what made me fall in love with the series has to be in season 2, that raiding speech spoke to me so much, remembering my raiding days in WoW and in so many other MMORPGs, and why I fell in love with gaming. But Log Horizon is really great if you like a survival game anime. This next series I think would be a great game to play for Sanraku, the main character from Shangri-La Frontier. Being full dive, this ultimate next gen full dive RPG is even shittier than in real life. And that's very true, because playing that game, you would hate life. It's very shitty, but this is why the anime is so fun. Having seen all of the shenanigans that happen there, this is kind of like a meme show in a way. I just want more of it. I couldn't take my eyes off of it, everything that was happening there. Him gaining, I'm not gonna say what, it's better to experience it for yourself. Just full dive into the series, pun intended by the way. Check it out, but expect a meme show. This next series is what happens when somebody abuses a game mechanic and makes developers' life a living hell. Being Bofuri, I don't want to get hurt, so I'll max out my defense. Maple, the main character, she just maxes out her defense. What could possibly go wrong doing that, right? In an MMORPG game? Nothing. She just becomes overpowered and somehow kind of transforms into a god. It's really cute, really fun there. I like the gaming aspects here. Wholesome what happens, all of the other guilds characters, the tournament they're put against each other. I do think season 1 is a bit better than season 2. here, but overall still a really fun series, and if you want some good time, check out Bofuri. We have the villainous genre that kind of picked up, but the first one that I watched, and probably my favorite out of this one, Isekai, getting transported into an otome game, has to be Hamefura, or My Next Life as a Villainous, or Roots Lead to Doom. Mainly because of Katarina Klaes, or Bakarina, the main character. If Dance would be a neutron star, if Isekai Oji-san, the characters that I said is one of the densest character, would be in competition with her, he would lose. She's not dense, she's the definition of dense, but it works out in her favor. It's so fun. It's a reverse harem show here. All of the council memes that happening in her head, it's super relaxing, but also the story and the world are pretty good. I didn't expect it when I was watching it. And Bakarina, really fun character. If you haven't checked out this show, please do. Our last game, Isekai, has to be How Not to Summon a Demon Lord, and this one is an ecchi show, very ecchi. There we have our main character being transported into the game world and having to play his own character, Diablo, the villain, overpowered personality that he created, but him being quite different from his actual facade that he put on with the character, and having to save these girls, and the way he saves them in season 1 towards the end was a very interesting medical maneuver, let me call it that. But it's really fun here. I like seeing Diablo blow up villains. I really like the girl in season 2 that went after him. I'm not gonna say who and what happens there. Our next category is comedy Isekai Anime. Series that lean a lot more into the fun, humor aspect of a show, and the first one being probably the most well-known one, Konosuba, God's blessing on this wonderful world. And hey, we're getting season 3 right now. It's starting to air pretty soon, and I've missed it so much, but it just works. If you want to laugh, Konosuba is the show for you with an isekai. The main cast of characters, the dynamics between them, all of the shenanigans they come up to each other, all of their quirks, with Darkness being this masochist, Kazuma being this scum, Megumin only being selfish and focusing on her explosion magic there, and Aqua being useless. It just works so much well together between all of them, everything they do, and especially that cult, the Axis cult, there killed me so much. Make sure you sign that paper. But hey, and the movie with Kazuma having that scene there, just take me. The humor lands a lot for me, so make sure, if you haven't watched Konosuba, I don't know what you're doing, but I'm also jealous of you. You're gonna be in for a good time. Have you ever wanted to have free Amazon for life, for everything, but mainly cooking, being campfire cooking in another world with my absurd skill? Main character gets transported into a fantasy world where his power is Amazon. He can order anything he wants from a fantasy Amazon store here, which helps him quite a lot because he's also very good at cooking, but then he gets an interesting companion that is a glutton, to put it lightly here. But somehow this has really good animation and makes you very hungry, how everything looks so good. Made by Mappa, by the way, and we're getting more, but it's very relaxing. Also has a lot of humor at the same time, and you're gonna need snacks the more you watch campfire cooking in another world. We've all had a weird uncle, right? Now imagine that weird uncle somehow getting isekai'd to a magic world. He becomes overpowered, then comes back home and he's a Sega fanatic. That's pretty much Uncle from Another World. It's really fun. Everything that happens there. We get to see his experiences in the fantasy world through his memories, seeing the events with his family members, let me put it that way. The tsundere elf also, she's really cute, but what kills this show, like kills it, I think a lot of people didn't watch it or kind of flew under the radar because it had some production issues. I do hope we're going to get a season 2. Please give us more Uncle from Another World. It's super fun. It has a lot of references to real life things, and the faces he makes, and he's probably one, if not the densest characters in the world when it comes to romance and how to handle socially with people, but in a comedic way. So Isekai Oji-san, check it out. Handyman Saito in Another World. I'm gonna be honest, I almost dropped it, but thankfully I stuck with it because it starts very much generic in the first like 5-6 episodes, if I remember correctly, but then it actually gets pretty good and very interesting what's happening in the world there. We have our main character just being a handyman. He's not overpowered, he's not gonna become overpowered, he's suddenly not gonna be able to kill a god, but he helps our other cast of characters with the things that they can handle, him being a handyman, and the relationships between them really evolve quite a lot, and the world expands. But the biggest thing that expands in this world are the dick jokes. Like, it has the most and the best dick jokes in an isekai anime, especially the old guy. But it's really fun, and I do hope you guys stick out with it. It gets better the more you watch it. This series is if you have your corpo guy, he became rich, he achieved everything he wanted in the world, then he gets transported into another world and he becomes basically a slave, and he has to work his way up by being shitty and scummy, but hey, it works out and you're gonna laugh your ass off. The Dungeon of Black Company, it's really fun, mainly thanks to the main character, all of the shenanigans that happen there, how he makes deals with everything. The corporate ladder also still exists into this fantasy world, but the humor, at least for me, landed quite well. And if you want to have that aspect with a corpo guy having to rebuild his life basically after he got bored and won at everything again, you're probably going to enjoy this series. Have you ever wanted to spread religion? This is the show for you. Kamikatsu, working for God in a godless world. Now, our main character has a very interesting background. He's the son of a cult leader. He doesn't believe in the goddess they worship, but it turns out she's real. And yeah, she's a goddess. Sure, let's go with a goddess. That's all I'm gonna say. But this is definitely a meme show, and they leaned into it. I said it twice because the memes are here. The bad CGI, the cardboard things, the goddess, she's not really a goddess, all of the innuendos, everything that's happened in these shows is a meme. If you want to laugh, check out Kamikatsu, but you're gonna need a lot of suspensions of disbelief what's happening with the show. If you're going in expecting very good gripping storytelling and everything along those lines, there is something there definitely, but the humor is the main point of this series, and I couldn't laugh harder if I tried to. So check out Kamikatsu and spread some religion. This category of isekai anime are the series that didn't really fit into the previous categories, but I still like them quite a lot because they do something different at the same time and also similar in a way, especially with our first one. It could go into a lot of the previous categories, being Rising of the Shield Hero, which it's really good, but mainly season 1, like this revenge story, what happens in the first few episodes there, the build up with Naofumi getting betrayed by Beach. If you know, you know here, and I'm sure a lot of you have watched this series. It's really fun, really good with what's happening in season 1, but unfortunately season 2 and season 3 aren't as good. Season 2 starts really rough, gets pretty good towards the end, but a lot of people dropped it. There we have some new characters, some new world building in season 2. Then season 3 suffers from the opposite thing, starts out really strong and then kind of regresses a bit. Unfortunately, it was also delayed because COVID and along those lines, but hey, we're getting season 4. Am I gonna watch it? Yeah, probably I'm gonna watch it, but I do hope it gets back on track because it has a lot of potential, Shield Hero. Our next one has to be Welcome to Demon School Iruma-kun, and I hope more people are going to check out this series. We have 3 seasons right now, really fun, The world, I like it quite a lot. It has this great atmosphere to it. The looks, our main character being this scaredy cat character, which kind of works in his favor. His parents sell him to a demon, and he has to go to school in the demon world, and from there things escalate, to say the least. But it's also very wholesome, very comedic at the same time. And why I didn't put it into comedy, I think it does a bit more than just comedy. Also, the world building is really good. I like the cast of characters quite a lot. There, the aspect of it also being great for kids. I think a lot of kids could also enjoy this anime, and adults at the same time. And if you want to get somebody into an anime, I think Iruma-kun is great here. And I don't think a lot of people actually checked out Iruma-kun, unfortunately. This next series is Recreators, which is very different from a lot of the series from here, because it's a reverse isekai. In this case, fantasy characters come to the real world, which is very important because they interact with their own creators. Like an author that created the character, somehow his creation is in front of him. How did this happen? Why did this happen? This is why it's a really good series, Recreators. In also, it's very dialogue heavy because it handles how stories are structured, how they're made, what it takes into creating a fantasy world, the character designs. It's really good at that aspect, and the main character has to deal with some tragedy in the past. I'm not gonna say what or how, but it's quite an interesting story, and I hope we get more series like this that explore a different point of view of storytelling in a way. Have you ever wondered why modern military, guns, weapons would be able to do against a fantasy world? Well, this anime has the answer for you. Gate. Simply Gate. Imagine if the military had to fight fantasy creatures. This is exactly what happens here. The gate opens up to a different world, and I don't think a lot of series have done this. Like, there are guns, there are weapons in a lot of isekai shows, fantasy shows, but not to this level or how much it shows the difference into some aspects. You can say, hey, magic is always going to win. Sure, when you have a really powerful magic, or everybody has access to magic, or everybody is superhuman, super powerful. But what happens when you get a medieval civilization against modern civilization with guns? Well, Gate. Just watch Gate. This next one, I think it flew under a lot of people's radar, being the Faraway Paladin. What it does great, it puts into that atmosphere of Dark Souls quite a lot. It doesn't focus a lot on the isekai aspect. Our character died, he got reincarnated into this world, but doesn't play as a big role as a lot of the other series. But here, the world building is really good, the gods, what it does here, the history of what happened with the people that are around him, and it has great atmosphere here. And we get to see our main character growing up, reaching up to a point he has to deal with something. Hey, we also got season 2, and I think they did one of the best dragon fights in the aspect of not animation and anything along those lines. It doesn't have really great animation, but what I mean one of the best dragon fights is how in a lot of series dragons are just, hey, somebody killed the dragon, it's whatever, or dragons are powerful and they somehow died really fast. The dragon in this series is how dragons are: selfish, greedy, and overwhelmingly strong. And how this one worked out, and the gods, the mythology is really interesting into the Faraway Paladin, and I enjoyed it quite a lot. This next one is gonna be hard to describe it properly without spoilers. It's from the creator of Durarara and Bakano, Dead Mount Death Play. Now, all I'm gonna say is try to watch at least episode 1 and at least until all the way to the end. What it does here, it kind of changes some aspects with how a lot of the things are done in isekais in a way, but also does the usual thing that Bakan or Durarara do. We have a lot of characters, a lot of organizations, a lot of agendas after that very interesting, mysterious things with the history of the world, what happened, how did this came to be, who's working behind the scenes, which I do hope we're going to get more, because it needs more to resolve a lot of the things. But it's really fun, and I really like when we have more groups, organizations working against each other, with each other, deals, and everything along those lines. And the main character is actually quite interesting this time. Not to say other characters are not, but there's a lot more to him than, hey, just being... I'm not gonna say it, it's spoiler. Just check out that mount, that play. What happens when a salaryman dies and he gets isekai'd into a World War world here, and he gets the random accident of being a murder lolly. Yeah, he gets turned into a lolly that becomes a war murderer, let me put it that way, and he gets into it, to say the least, because he wants to get revenge against God. And yes, God is real in this world here, and why not? I was having so much fun with this series. Hey, we're getting more. The movie was also really good, especially what they did with the concept of marriage. So, but yeah, Saga of Tanya the Evil, or Yojo Senki. If you want to watch a war criminal do war crimes, this is the show for you. This next series makes me angry, like really angry, because we don't have more of it. Drifters, from the creator of Hellsing. Like, what this series does is that great character design, especially those creepy evil smiles in the outlandish things they're able to do, and the way it starts is really interesting, because they kind of end up also fighting against Jesus in a way. I hope that's Jesus, but we're gonna have to wait and see. Hopefully at some point we're going to get more. Drifters is really fun. You have historical figures getting transported to this world, having to fight in a war on two sides, and the two sides have different world views, to put it lightly, and chaos ensues, to say the least. But we need more. We definitely need more Drifters. If you haven't watched Drifters and you liked Hellsing and very exaggerated characters, check it out. This next one, Ishura, being very recent, is also a bit similar with Drifters, kind of scratch that itch in a way, where you have a lot of outlandish characters being isekai'd, or also choosing to get into this world, and there's going to be war, a battle royale to decide who's going to be the next true hero. But what they do great are the world building and the character introduction, their backstories, their motivation, why they do this, how they are, and also how these grander than life characters affect everybody around them, and them clashing. And hey, we're getting more Ishura. I'm really happy. I hope is going to have a pretty good, or at least decent conclusion as to what everything has been leading up to. So if you haven't checked it out and you want kind of like a battle royale isekai, Ishura is the series for you. This next series did something very interesting, which not a lot of isekai series have done: the Executioner and Her Way of Life. It starts again very generic, like a lot of other series, but there's a very interesting twist in the first few episodes that I didn't expect it to go that way, and I really liked it quite a lot, and I do hope at some point we're going to get a season 2. I'm talking really vaguely around what happened there. I don't want to spoil it for you guys. Just check out a few episodes, you're going to find it very intriguing, and the Executioner, interesting concept around isekai and people getting transported to other worlds, and what exactly does that mean for that world when you have somebody overpowered with insane abilities just randomly being sent to your world. That's gonna have some consequences, to say the least. This is another recent series, The Wrong Way to Use Healing Magic, which pleasantly surprised me, to say the least, how they handle some things when you have your typical heroes being sent to another world with their getting generic powerful abilities, but then our main character, he inadvertently got caught in the portal and he got sent to this world with them. And he gets healing magic in this case, but doesn't go the route of redo of healer, goes the wrong way to use healing magic, which is kind of ironic. But what this series does great is the concept with how they use healing magic in this world, thanks to one of the best characters in a lot of anime, especially this anime. Rose has a great history, personality. I love characters like this, a woman that can kill me, insert your Cowboy Bebop meme. But also I do hope we're going to get more, because we only have a few episodes of it. I think it had 13 episodes and it deserves a season 2 for the interesting things that it did with healing magic. Now, after all of the categories that we had, all of the series that we had, we are at the big three, or how I like to call the best three isekais overall, that are the best at what they do. But they are very different from each other, which is a major plus, because sometimes you're in a different mood, you want something else. But here we have our first one being That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. It's the face of the overpowered main character isekais shows, to say the least. There are a lot of them, we've gone through a few of them here, but Slime, Rimuru, and what he does, I love it so much. It's super fun for me. And hey, we're getting season 3, it's airing pretty soon here. And having the best friend deleting your search history in the first few episodes, Tsundere Dragon. What I love about this one is, hey, growing overpowered, the skill aspects, the comedy is there, the hot girls, but nation building, I love that so much, seeing how it goes from a small village, from a small group, and so on and so on. It grows into nations, different factions, different characters there, and also at the same time still kind of keeping that soul of it in a way, trying to build something for somebody to be happy, and it puts me in such a good mood. The fights are great here with Slime. There's a lot more happening in this world here with true dragons, gods, magical things, and becoming a demon lord, because why not? So hey, if you haven't watched Slime, I'm really jealous of you. You're gonna be in for a great time. The next one is a different type of isekai, kind of leans a lot more into the horror aspect of a show. ReZero, starting life in another world, with one of the best main characters in general, which I think a lot of people hated him but misunderstood him quite a lot, Subaru from ReZero. This is a character that is both overpowered and underpowered at the same time. He's pretty much the weakest character in the entire show, both mentally with some of the things that happened, and physically. But he's also one, if not the most overpowered character, by how his power works. Return by death. Every time he gets killed, he gets to come back, but he feels those deaths. He feels that pain, he feels that trauma. I wouldn't want to be him, let me put it that way. I would gladly be Rimuru, I'd gladly be a lot of the characters from this show, but if somebody's telling you, yeah, I would do a better job than Subaru, they're straight up lying. You'd shit your pants after the first death. I guarantee it here. But what I love about this show, hey, great girls, the mystery is here, the story is very captivating, the world, and I can't wait for more. And hey, season 3 has been confirmed for this year, and ReZero, one of my all-time favorite shows, has me hooked, to say the least. I covered it in videos, if you guys want to check those out. And tell me, which one are you, Emilia or Rem? And who is Rem, by the way? I couldn't help myself, I'm sorry, but ReZero is one of the best overall isekais. The last of the big three has to be Mushoku Tensei, or Jobless Reincarnation, which is simply amazing. Now, ReZero deals a bit more with the horror aspect, Slime with the power fantasy aspect, and Mushoku Tensei deals with second chances and more into the fantasy aspect of a world, characters, world building, atmosphere. This is one of the animes that I got completely lost into. That's how much it hooked me from the start, especially having a very flawed characters, to say the least. I'm not gonna get into that conversation discussions. I'm sure you guys know it already. But also seeing how he handles trying to get better is gonna be a long way up to that point, because this is a slow build of a series. We get to see that second life ever since he got born as a baby, growing up, fucking up a lot of the times along the way, seeing the trauma, having to deal with it from his past. Not to excuse his behavior for what he has done, but everything that this series does, from the world building, the characters. Ghislaine, best wife, by the way. I need her to crush me with that stone ass. Yes, I said it. But yeah, Mushoku is such a good series, one of my all-time favorite series. If you haven't watched this series, is another one. I'm really jealous of you guys, especially if you like fantasy shows, isekai shows, magic. This is the series that IGN should have said is a good fantasy isekai, not Frieren, by the way. Even though Frieren is great, is not an isekai. But Mushoku, we're getting more here. Part of season 2 is airing right now, and speaking of season 2, it's a bit different in tone from season 1, which a lot of people have had issues, which is kind of understandable in a way. I still think it was great what they did for the character development, building relationship between him and a character. Not gonna say which one because it's a spoiler, but this series is just amazing, to say the least, and I do hope we're going to get a full adaptation with how Studio Bind was made, especially for this show. And I need more Mushoku Tensei in my life. One of the best isekais and series in general. Here we are at the end of the video after a lot of series, a lot of isekai discussion here. I'm really curious, what series are you guys going to check out? Let me know in the comments below, or more importantly, what series should have been here that I missed, that you guys think is the best. Again, comment down below, and if you've made it this far, I appreciate it a lot. Make sure to like, subscribe, it helps me quite a lot, and you guys get the latest videos on the series that I follow. And also keep in mind, these are just my personal tastes. The series that I recommend, I meant this video more as a guide, recommendations for people to check out a lot of the series from here. And isekais aren't as bad as a lot of people are saying. There are some great shows, and there are some trashy shows. Why not? But sometimes I also enjoy trash. Sometimes you need that trash in your life. But yeah, thank you again. Check out some of the series, and I'm gonna see you on another video. Bye bye.